Imagine you are playing alone at the playground in elementary school, or you are eating by yourself in middle school at lunch, or you're even attending some sporting events in high school by yourself, all while getting picked on because of it, because you are because you're alone. There are so many forms of bullying, from physical abuse to mental abuse and even to emotional abuse, that happen in schools across America every day. And according to DoSomething.org, there are 3.2 million children that are victims of bullying each year. That's 3.2 million innocent children being victimized and ostracized by their peers for really no good reasons most of the time, just for being different. So this could have been you, or this could have been your children, or your friends, or your siblings that have been picked on their entire lives. And so the need for change and to stop bullying is growing so much larger every year as our society changes. And so today I'd like to talk to you about what constitutes as bullying, what the effects of bullying can be on people, and even some ways that are being taught to kind of prevent and stop bullying in the classrooms and at home. And so first, what constitutes as bullying? As I said, there are lots of forms, so many different types that can hurt people in so many ways. And so this book called 20 Questions About Bullying kind of gave a definition about bullying, and it says, bullying is a repetitive type of behavior of premeditated actions inflicted on others. And so the most obvious forms of this are physical abuse, which can be punching or scratching or spitting or slapping other people, anything that can physically hurt another. However, there are more silent forms that go unnoticed, which are hateful words and slurs towards other in passing, or exclusion is a really big one, or even making fun of people because of the material things that they own, if they're not as popular as what everybody else has or whatever. And so this book, 20 Questions About Bullying, also did a study on the differences in genders when it comes to bullying, and it found that girls use more relational aggression, which is pertaining to the person's mental and emotional state and even social status in most cases with young girls. And boys often use more physical abuse when it comes to their types of bullying instead of using hateful words. And the study showed that since young boys often have more anger and just like a kind of chemical imbalance built up in them at a young age, they don't know how to handle it and how to really deal with their rage. They often take it out on others. And so that's why young boys are more, in this study, are more often found to be the bullies rather than the girls being the bullies. And so now that I've kind of told you about the dynamics of bullying, such as what it looks like and the differences in gender relationships, I'm going to tell you about some of the effects. And so this book I found, called Banishing Bullying Behavior, kind of put bullying into a 3-part cycle. First, starting with pain, which is from the initial impact of bullying and on the person, whether it be any type of abuse, physical, mental, or emotional, which leads into anger and rage, which the person feels inside after being picked on day by day by day. And that can result in revenge, whether it be on the original bully or even on somebody that they found that's kind of smaller than them and weaker, so they feel like they have the upper hand and they start bullying them. And it just turns into this cycle over and over again. And they also put it in a more devastating view, which we see far too much, in my view, on the news and on television nowadays, is this other cycle, which also starts with pain, but it quickly leads to depression and then suicide. And both of these cycles can lead in mass shootings that we see happening all the time in schools across America. This child who had been picked on from childhood up until high school brings a gun to school and just starts shooting. It doesn't even have to be at the person who bullied them. It can be at innocent bystanders and people who never really stood up for them, maybe, or whoever they see before inflicting the act of suicide on themselves. And so now that we have, like, I've shown you some of the devastating effects, the question begs, what can be done? And so bullying in North American schools has come up with sort of ABCs when it comes to bullying. The A standing for antecedent, I don't know if that's how you say it, which is the premise of bullying, which is like the acts and such. The B standing for behaviors, and C for consequences. The main goal that is being taught to teachers around the schools using this program is to stop the C's, stop the consequences, by stopping the first two, A and B. And so ways to get behind this program that they're teaching is consistency. It's good to be persistent as teachers and as parents to instill rules and respect and values into children at a younger age, because when they have that in them, they don't often have to take out everything else on other people. They know how to deal with it and how to respect others instead of tormenting others. So as you can see, bullying is a growing problem and is a really big problem in today's society, and it needs to be kind of stopped and prevented. So I've told you about what it looks like, what the effects can be, and some ways on how to sort of prevent it. And so it all seems like such a simple task, like stop bullying, just a few words, but it really is a daunting task that some people would rather not take on and really kind of stop. And so to the people who say that bullying isn't really a big part in today's society and is kind of going away or isn't present, and to the people who say that bullying is too big of a thing to take down, it'll just happen because it happens, I say to them, isn't it time that we stick up for the people who can't stick up for themselves?